Going on? It's been a minute. Your boy was with the family out on vacation, enjoying ourselves, having a good time, trying to unwind. But now it's time to get back to it. So I had a lot of things that I wanted to talk about, a lot of stuff that happened. I didn't know if I wanted to do a long video to just hit all of these topics or just break it down one topic at a time. Because you already know how it is in these YouTube streets. If you don't jump on the topic right away, it's going to become old. So you already missed it. So you might as well not even rap about it. But I thought this was an interesting topic. Shout out to my guy, Mar. He shot me a text message and sent me the link to this article or this story that we're going to talk a bit about today. And it's about something that's relatively important. Actually, it's important as hell. You know why it's important as hell? Because I say it all the time. One of the most important money decisions that you make is not it's not just school you go to, it's not the major you decide or where you decide to work. All of that stuff got something to do with it. But one of the most important decisions you're going to make related to your finances is who you choose or decide to have a family with. So when my guy Mars sent me this article, I thought it was interesting. And honestly, I just wanted to get the community's take on it. Is it good? Is it bad? I know y'all probably looking at it like, what? No more permanent alimony. What's that all about? Some people probably think it's good. Some people probably think it's bad. Hey, I'm not gonna hide the ball from y'all. I think Governor DeSantis hit a home run with this one, in my opinion. But before I give my detailed opinion, we're gonna talk a little bit about the facts. We're gonna watch a little video and we're gonna chop it up because I want to know what you all think. Is this a good thing or is a bad thing? As always, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and make sure you hit that bell notification so you can get updated on when I drop new videos. And for all the family who already subscribe, all the support, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. I got to give the disclaimer. I'm a licensed attorney. I'm licensed in a bunch of places, but none of those places amount to me being an attorney for you. So if you need legal advice or financial advice, go find a professional in your area. This is just opinion, takes, attorney reactions, giving my opinion and letting y'all know what we got going on with our finances over here. So let's dive into it. Alimony. Alimony, I kind of put it in that same category as child support. Even though they're completely different things, they have a lot of commonalities. There's both something that you get once the divorce happened or a divorce proceeding is filed. It requires one spouse, maybe the guy, maybe the woman, maybe whoever, but it requires one spouse paying some money to support either the kids or the spouse's lifestyle. But there's a really unique difference because we know with child support, like, hey, you reach the age of 18 in a lot of states, child support over with. If the kid, some states, if the kid is in college and they up until the age of 21, you still may be on the hook. But alimony is a different and unique beast because every state got their own rules for how they're going to play the alimony game and the whole nine. What's going on, sis? I appreciate it. Hey, vacation was cool. It was dope. The family had fun, and it was chill. I lost some money gambling, but I don't do it that often, and I'm probably never going to do it again. But I appreciate that. What's going on, sis? Thanks for tuning in as well. As always, I appreciate the support. But alimony, like I said, is one of those weird things because, like child support, like a lot of things, it's really state specific. So if you go to some more liberal states, probably the northern states on the East Coast, California, alimony is really just based on the need and the ability of one spouse to pay, which, it kind of makes sense. Like, hey, does this person need support to live a certain life and to be able to maintain a lifestyle? Because it could be one of those instances where one spouse is the complete 100% breadwinner and the other spouse is a stay-at-home mom or dad. But in general, in most of your liberal states, it's solely based on, hey, does a person need alimony and can a person provide alimony? But we all know, hey, all states aren't created equal. When you go down to the Bible Belt and you go down south, like in North Carolina, for example, and I can specifically speak on North Carolina because That's where I first took my first and passed my bar exam, and that's where I went to law school at. And North Carolina is unique because with alimony, a place like California, New York, DC, Maryland, infidelity has no bearing on alimony. But when you get to those Bible Belt states and it get a little wild, in those Bible Belt states, if you like in North Carolina, hey, infidelity is something that the court can consider when they're making a determination on should they put an alimony order in. That's kind of crazy. I don't provide legal advice for nobody, but if you stay in the Bible Belt state and you're unfaithful and you sloppy, you may want to move somewhere where the laws, where the laws may be a little bit more favorable for you. All right, so we're going to dive into this video because I found two videos that kind of explain the law and provide it in more detail. Now, hey, generally, I don't know. Ron DeSantis, stuff coming out of Florida, in my opinion, is often kind of wild. Hey, shout out to Florida. If you're from Florida, hey, drop a FL or orange in the comments. But a lot of times you see some crazy stuff coming out of Florida. But as soon as I saw this, even before I read the details of it, my immediate thought was, you know what? That sounds like it might be an idea that actually makes sense. I need to look into this further. Now, I will tell you, when it comes to alimony, when it comes to child support, DFD is a person who is 100% fair, and I believe in equality. So, when guys got to pay child support and they complaining about it, my position is, you know what it is, you know how the game go. If I get a divorce, I gotta suck it up. I know how the game go. I'm gonna have to pay up. So I don't feel any type of way regardless of if it's a guy, if it's a lady. I don't really care when it comes to pay. Like, I don't care when Halle Berry complains about how much she has to pay in child support and alimony. You know what? You want equality? There it is. You got equality. So I'm an equal opportunist when it comes to the alimony and child support stuff. California just they do their own thing. For, yeah, California alimony is there. It's kind of wild, man. Like, and I remember specifically being in law school, alimony should be eliminated altogether. After, yeah, yeah, I can see that. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I think that kind of makes, I think that kind of makes some sense. It being indefinite makes no sense. I can remember sitting in law school and you got to take your required family law course, and they were talking about alimony, and they was like, yeah, in North Carolina, if a spouse has been caught cheating or there's substantial evidence of infidelity, the judge considers infidelity in his factors as to if he should award, alimony. And they was like, oh, well, it's just kind of indefinite. And I was like, wait, like, what if I'm married, me and my wife get a divorce, I'm paying alimony, and I'm just paying this thing indefinitely or for however many years? Like, when would that alimony order end? And he looked at me and said, it'll end when your spouse find another sucker to marry. But that being said, it's not uncommon in states where alimony is just permanent to see a spouse who's getting alimony. They'll never get married. They have relationships, they have living boyfriends, but they will refuse to get married because they don't want to stop the gravy train. And let's just be honest, like, based on how it's structured, if it's structured like that, that's actually not a bad idea if you want to continue to getting that money in. Like, why should I let this person off the hook who has this ability to pay? So let's go ahead, take a look at the video so we can learn a little bit more about this law. Because I know off the break, a lot of y'all probably like, I don't know about that law. It sounds kind of sketch. But we got to listen to the details of it. And I guarantee you, you may switch your position when you hear the details of it. We're going to watch a couple videos. Let's check out this short one first. I never could do this. I never could do this smoothly. I always suck with my video transitions.
us live in the studio. And Steve, you spoke with state lawmakers on both sides of this issue. What did they have to say about this?
Jay, this new law means that permanent alimony has come to an end in Florida. One thing supporters and opponents disagree with regarding this new law is whether it applies to existing alimony agreements. Governor Ron DeSantis signed this bill last night, and the new law took effect today. Supporters say that this bill limits how long an ex-spouse would be required to make alimony payment, but supporters also say this would not apply to current agreements. However, opponents say courts could decide this new law could apply to existing alimony agreements, which puts some ex-spouses in a situation where they're unable to support themselves because they were depending on those payments. Democratic State Representative Anna Escamani of Orlando opposed the bill.
It's always been important to allow judges to decide what is in the best interest of that family and, of course, of children if there are children involved in the divorce. And this bill, now law, alongside others that have passed recently, pull that process away from the courts and into a more political realm.
Republican State Representative John Snyder of Martin County, who approved the bill, says in part, quote, "As society changes, we have more households where both spouses work. By eliminating permanent alimony, the bill strikes a good balance between supporting the spouse who might not earn as much income during the marriage, while also encouraging self-supporting." Governor DeSantis vetoed a similar bill last year. We reached out to his office for a comment about this new law, but so far we've not heard back.
All right, so that's video number one. Now let's talk about that real quick. And I saw a comment in here I wanted to address. Is alimony considered for common law? The answer to that is yes. If you are in a common law marriage, you have the same rights to seek a fair breakdown of your joint assets and to seek alimony as you would if you had been married officially. So, and yo, hold on. I remember, let me look this up real quick. I remember somebody telling me that they lived in a state where common law marriage started something crazy like 48 hours. I was like, I heard that. I was like, man, I never invite a girl to my house. I was like, I thought that was insane. Hold on, let me see. Okay, nah, I'll try that. I was like, they couldn't have known what they was talking about. 48 hours, that's ridiculous. You can't even have your girlfriend stay over for the weekend and she get one piece of mail that's just like a pamphlet or brochure, and you would be extremely screwed. All right, let's see. It is here in Australia. If you're living together for more than 6 months, everything is treated the same as marriage with divisions, assets, alimony. Yeah. And that's generally it. It's common law marriage. The word marriage being in there just go ahead and solidifies everything. Make them sign a lease. Yo. Hey, that's smart. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it that, hey, in the law, I'm not a practitioner down under, but in the law is all about what you could effectively argue. If they sign the lease, that's a very good argument. I'm just going, hey, it made me actually think like, hey, yo, bro, you should be an attorney, man. That's that's expert that's expert thinking right there. But as soon as we heard that video and that legislator was talking and like, oh, they're taking the power out of the court, and I personally don't think she read the entire bill, because when we watch this other bill video where they break down some of the details, I think it makes sense. And I'm gonna put it in the same category for me. This sounds crazy, okay? And I know different facts and circumstances will play a role in every situation. That's why there's factors. The judge got to consider the factors and make a determination. But I analogize it to someone who's receiving a state benefit. For me, my personal belief is I think that it's just wild for someone to receive government assistance indefinitely for the entire duration of their adult life. Like to me, that doesn't make sense. So a model in my mind that makes sense is, hey, we want to provide people some support because we know times get hard. Everybody wasn't born with the same starting position in this race of this game of life. So I get it. Some people need help. But we want to create a system where we can help people, but slowly but surely we can reduce the amount of help that we give because they are becoming more self-sufficient. So if I in a world that I was the unilateral ruler supreme of, if I was Thanos and I could snap my finger, I would essentially have something set up to where, hey, if you're receiving government benefits, we'll give you those benefits for year one, year two, 100%. Year three, we would cut it to 80%. Year four, we would cut it to 70%. And the expectation is, as you're getting these benefits, you're putting yourself in a position to increase your income, get a better job. So the amount of assistance doesn't need to stay the same because your position is improving. Now, I know you have to create mechanisms to, work programs, and a lot of that stuff is already out there. But in a perfect world, I think that would be a perfect place for a system like that to start. So that's how I analogize that the same way with alimony. Okay, I get it. If you were a stay-at-home spouse and your husband made all of the money, or your wife made all the money, and you was just there changing diapers and doing all that real excessive hard work of maintaining the household, I get it. But whatever your alimony percentage is, after year one, year two, there should be some deference for the court to modify that and reduce it, because again, you should be in a position where you can provide some type of support for yourself. Now, if you're married to an NBA player or a multi-gazillionaire or something like that, you would probably never be able to, most people on average wouldn't make enough to be able to sustain that same type of lifestyle. But I think it's fair that you would make enough to be able to reduce that alimony payment by something. It may not be by 20% or 35%, but you may be able to reduce it 10 or 15%. That's just kind of my take on it. I wanted to give a shout out to my guy. Y'all go check out his channel at About That Wallet. He got some good content, and he come from things from a different perspective. He talk a lot about finance, but he kind of talks about it a lot with social issues that are trending in the community, and I think that's definitely dope to do, and I like seeing that. Can you write off alimony on your taxes? I'm trying to think, because I don't do family law, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe there is a provision in the tax code to write off what they define as alimony and separate maintenance payments. Let's see if my memory is right. Yep. See, I knew I was right. I got good memory. Yep. You are able to deduct alimony from your taxable income if your divorce was finalized before 2019, as long as certain requirements are met, which is a long list of stuff that I'm not about to go down. But I remember expressly sitting there. I took a bunch of tax classes in law school because I was a geek. And I remember expressly there was a condition about alimony and separate maintenance payments being able to reduce your taxable income. Now, with child support, can't do anything about that if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I know for certain with alimony and child and separate maintenance payments, you can. Now, let's take a look at this second video so we can dive into the details about this law. So before you make any decisions, as soon as I heard it, I thought it's probably good. But I think if you don't think it's good, you might change your mind to thinking that it makes sense once you hear a little bit about the details. So don't make a snap judgment just because Ron DeSantis did this in Florida, and it could potentially be the norm. But the other thing you got to think about is who will really benefit from the reduction in alimony payments. I mean, a lot of people will, but I know if I was a multi-billionaire, I'd have been like, high five, Ron. I would have been really excited and happy about that that being passed. And it was something they tried to do for a long time. I think they actually tried to introduce a bill to end permanent alimony like 10 years ago under the old governor, but the governors kept vetoing it. It probably was some other porker. You know how they like to finesse and slide something else up in the legislation, but they finally got it done. And so, hey, this is where we at. So let's take a look at the details of the bill so y'all can let me know if this is legit, if this is more a good idea or a bad idea. Now there are some problems because they like, yo, does it apply proactive? Like, if I've been paying alimony for 20 years and this law passed, can I get off the hook now finally? So it's going to be tight. So it's going to be interesting to see how this play out. Let's take a look at and find out the details about this law.
Creating big changes to alimony starting July 1st. It essentially eliminates permanent alimony in the state of Florida, and it allows ex-spouses to more easily make changes to the alimony once they reach retirement. Lots to unpack here, so let's break it all down.
All right, let's stop right there. I think that point right there, and I'm gonna let the video play because I know I hate when people do a video and they stop it all the time, and I'm doing it right now. But I think that was a fair point. If I'm paying alimony of X dollars from ages 45 to 55, which is on average a person's highest income earning years, when I retire at 62, presumably most people's income is going to go down. Why should I be responsible for paying the same amount of alimony now that I'm in retirement and my income has decreased? So I think off the break, that's a great point. I think that's something that, in all fairness, is something that should be considered by the court. And I think that allowing for a modification when a person is retired is a really big deal that just makes common sense to me.
After considering factors like the age and health of the person, the retirement age of that person's occupation, the economic impact a reduced alimony would have on the recipients of payments, and the motivation for retirement and likelihood of returning to work for the person making the payment.
Hey, another great point. If I'm an underwater welder and I weld on bridges, and at the age of 57, my damn back is jacked up from all that damn water pressure and carrying all that equipment, I'm not going to be able to afford to pay the same amount. So I think that was another good point.
Which is intended to provide financial support for the spouse until they are financially self-sufficient. And under the new law, couples married for less than 3 years will not be eligible for alimony payments. And now you have to be married 20 years or longer in order to be eligible to receive payments for up to 75% of the term of the marriage.
Okay. If you've been married 3 years or less, no alimony. What? Let's just go ahead and put this in perspective. I personally think that that's a rule that makes sense and is 100% fair. Because if I'm going in a relationship, like, okay, I got married, I was broke as hell, so so it was irrelevant. But if I'm going in a relationship where there's a significant imbalance in assets and income and net worth, and all the money is on my side and none of the money is on the other side, in that situation, what am I going to do? I'm going to have a prenuptial agreement to contractually make up the terms of the separation. And let's be honest, if you don't get past the 3-year mark, like, should you really get something like yeah, you couldn't even make it to the year 5? Like, y'all let me know, do y'all think that part is fair? If you don't make it past year 3, you aren't even eligible to consider alimony. I think the second part was interesting as well. Let me rewind that back. But 20 plus years of marriage to be eligible for up to 75% of the term of the marriage. So if you were married for 20 years and you want to get alimony payments for 75% of that 20-year period, so you're talking roughly 14 years and some change, 15 years, somewhere around that, you have to be married for 20 years to even be eligible to get up to 75% for the term of that marriage. Hey, again, I know y'all gonna be salty because it's Ron DeSantis, but hey, I gotta get this. Hey, this no cap. I think this is a great rule. I gotta pull the blue cap out for this one because a lot of people are gonna jump to conclusions because it's coming from Ron DeSantis. But I think this is a great idea just off the break.
The new bill that was just signed into law on July 1st, 2023 will not apply retroactively to the cases that the parties already entered into a settlement agreement or there's also already been a judicial determination. My understanding is that it will in fact apply to cases that have already been filed, but they're still in progress, and there's not been a final order entered or a settlement agreement, as well as any new cases that will be filed in the future.
The law is being met with mixed reactions. Some groups like Florida Family Fairness, they're applauding this, saying that it does make things more fair, while other groups like the First Wife Advocacy Group, they are saying that this could be devastating to older women that depend on this money. It is a lot to break down, so we've got it all for you right now at NBC6.com. I'm Heather Walker with NBC6 News.
Hey, Ron DeSantis, like, hey, I'm gonna give you a salute on that one. Just so far, the first information that I'm getting on this bill, and I didn't go through and read the bill in detail. You know why? Because I ain't got the time. I ain't got the time to go through and read this bill in detail. But so far, I'm thinking it's so far so good. Elon Musk is probably pretty happy. Yeah, I mean, hey, I think it just worked out perfect for certain people. There are some proponents. I tell you, I would be pissed because it's not grandfathered in. So this bill isn't a retroactive bill. So if your divorce is already finalized and you already got an alimony order or a separation agreement that outlines the terms of alimony, and this, I would be so mad if my alimony order was finalized on June 29th and this went into effect on the 1st. Man, I would be so pissed off. Like, you sorry group of legislators, I would be extremely pissed off because, you know, you gotta, I don't know, man, you gotta, I mean, if you following the tea leaves, you probably should have been able to see this. And I'm gonna just be honest, a good family law attorney, if that happened to everybody, I personally think that would be ineffective assistance of counsel. If you had an alimony order or separation agreement with alimony terms in it that ended within the last 30 days before this law passed, I think that your attorney, in my opinion, I think they did you a disservice. I think it's their job as a family law attorney, the same way it would be my job as a criminal attorney or civil attorney, to make sure that my client is abreast of all the changes in the law. And if there's a change that could benefit them, you know what is my obligation to do? Your Honor, at this time, I'm requesting a motion to continue. It came into our knowledge that my client has, so you need to say whatever the hell you need to say to get a continuance to push that damn thing out until the 1st, till this new law take effect, so your client wouldn't be on the hook for their whole entire life, whoever he or she may be, in my personal opinion. Tyrese. Yeah, y'all hilarious, man. Y'all are hilarious. But I think that hey, I gotta give Ron this. Yeah, the person who settled the 30th, man, like they might be showing up at their attorney house with a crowbar and some off black stockings over their face, because I think that's I would actually say that would be probably a viable claim for ineffective assistance of counsel if you had an alimony order or separation agreement that resolved 30 days before this, because it's your job as an attorney to be informed and knowledgeable about all of the situations that are going on. But yo, that's it. I thought that would be an interesting video, an interesting take to talk about. One of the things that they said, though, when we watched that video and it closed out, they said something to the effect of this will be it wouldn't be advantageous for older women who rely on that support. I don't know. Because I'm thinking, and let's just keep this, like, all right, we know it doesn't apply retroactively, so people aren't getting grandfathered in. So if you're an older person who's relying on alimony payments to survive, you're going to get that indefinitely, is a done deal. If you're someone and your case got filed right now or is pending, you can qualify for modifications or these type of things. I don't necessarily agree with that statement that it'll impact like an older woman or older guy who is relying on the payments. Because one, they have to meet that threshold for. I think this was a lot of times I review laws and they are really bad laws because they just don't think of all the avenues. But I actually give them credit. I'm not sure, who was responsible for drafting the entire legislation, but they actually tried to think of a lot of things that could happen. So I think it's some safeguards in there to prevent an elderly person who's relying on alimony. Because if you're elderly and you get married, one, I think just from a risk standpoint, the older you are when you get married, the more likely it is you should have some type of prenuptial agreement that defines the terms of the separation and or divorce if it should happen. That's just common sense, in my opinion. I think that's something that you should do if you're older. Like when you're young and broke getting married, nobody got nothing. So half of nothing is nothing. So it's not really that big of a deal. I think it's less concern. But if you're older and getting married, you got to get past the 3-year hurdle. But I think by that time, you probably have enough assets and or common sense to know that, okay, if there's an imbalance, I should do something to protect my position in the event we get separated and have a divorce. That's one. But two, the other thing is if it's an older couple who gets married and they get past that 3-year period, they're not necessarily going to miss out on alimony altogether. They'll still get an alimony. It just won't be indefinitely. If it's an older couple who got married, chances are two older people got married. Each person probably was self-sufficient and able to sustain their own lifestyle anyway. So I think it's a rare, how could I put this? It's not uncommon, but I think it's a rarer marriage to see, in my opinion. I think it's rare to see a couple who's significantly older getting married where there's an extreme imbalance in income or assets. Because I don't know. I just don't see that happening that often. I'm sure it does happen, but I don't think that's the norm. So it's kind of an interesting take, but I don't think it's going to harm everybody. I think that they did a good job trying to be able to anticipate outcomes, trying to think of ways to be able to maneuver this. And like I said, this is a big benefit because a lot of people, I was just watching and I know y'all finance folks probably saw it on YouTube. I mean, not YouTube, on Netflix. It's Your Rich Life or something, but it's the documentary where the guy goes through and he looks at all these couples' bank statements and their bills and their debts, and he kind of helped them get all of their stuff together. And there was one lady on there, and her only means of income was child support and alimony, and she got $25,000 a month. And she had a house. I think she sold her house for like $2.2 million or something like that. Like, it's not going to impact that lady. You know why? Because her stuff is already done. If she was in Florida, I think she was in California, but if she was in Florida, it wouldn't impact her because her stuff is already done. So I just disagree with the fact that, I don't know. I think sometimes, because we know most times the recipient of alimony is the woman in a relationship. That's just a statistical fact. It's not me being a super macho. That's just kind of a statistical fact. So I think that was a little gamesmanship, like, oh, this is really going to impact older women who rely on that money. No, older women who already had these orders in are good because they're still getting it indefinitely. Older women who are getting married when they're older are actually more likely to already be self-sufficient and have enough resources and common sense to be able to protect themselves. So I thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting take. I thought it was an interesting story. Have anything? I don't know if I haven't heard of anything. I looked that up. I say this all the time because I do a lot of videos on Florida because Florida be making some laws, and sometimes every now and then they come through with something. Most times it's something that's economic, but every now and then they come through with something that makes sense. But I always say that Florida and Texas are like the test states. Like, okay, we want to try something different and something new. We can get it done in Florida. We could probably pass this in Texas. Let's pass it and see how it's received. I just don't think it's going to be a big backlash of people trying to challenge the constitutionality of the law or anything like that. I just don't think it I don't think it's going to be some political action committee of people who receive alimony who going to pull all their resources to file a legal challenge. Like, no. I think the more likely scenario is it'll be a political action committee of rich ass people who paying alimony who like, yo, we got to do something to fix this because I'm tired of paying this. Even though I get to reduce my taxable income, it still doesn't balance out to a dollar for dollar amount as to what I'm paying in alimony. So I think that's the more realistic approach, in my opinion. I just told my husband that if he marries after I die, he better have a prenup. And if that 20-year-old won't sign it, they gotta go common law. She'll have to sign a lease and be a tenant. Hey, that's good advice. Shout out. That was some great. Hey, I'm not a family law attorney because it's too much drama. But hey, common law merge, sign a lease. You have an effective roommate. Now, if you got a roommate with friends with benefits, that could be a different story. Okay, this is what's going to happen in that situation. I'm going to tell y'all exactly what the court is going to do. They're going to look at the evidence. So if you in a common law situation and you're like, oh, damn, these alimony rules are kind of crazy. I could be in a common law marriage and be on the hook for alimony. And this is kind of crazy. So if you're going to make them sign a lease and be a tenant, the court is going to look at the facts to see if it was more of a landlord-tenant agreement or if it was more of a relationship. So I'm just saying, if you sign a lease, but y'all got pictures on Instagram all booed up in Vegas and linking y'all arms around drinking margaritas and daiquiris and such, y'all probably not going to be looked at as a landlord-tenant relationship. Y'all probably going to be looked at as a couple and common law rules will apply. So it's really strategic. If you're going to do that route, you got to be cold-blooded, like, yo, sign this lease and don't ever take a picture of me. Nah, I'm not giving you no birthday card. Nah, I ain't going to say happy Valentine's Day on no card because you trying to lock me in. Yo, but that's it for this video. Again, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Hey, I'm giving DeSantis a round of applause on this one. After a decade, they finally got it passed. And I think they did a really great job of trying to address a lot of the provisions or hiccups that's going to come. Now, that doesn't mean that there's going to be some things that we haven't thought about, that they haven't thought about, that's going to come up. But, hey, the courts will cross that bridge when they get there. They'll look at the intent of the legislator when they created the statute, and people will even... Yeah, Eric Hall, man, hey, bro. I don't know where you practice at, man, but hey, man, if any family law attorneys out there, you need co-counsel, I can get Mr. Hall to join your team as co-counsel, pro hoc vice, and they say, as they say in Latin, for this matter only, because hey, I don't know, that tenant move was a slick move. I should make my kids sign one right now, if they was old enough to enter into a contract. But yeah, if they old enough to enter into a contract, they can enter into a tenant contract somewhere else that's not here. Yo, but that's it. Yo, I wanted to just, jump in, talk about it real quick. Hey, what's going on, Judy? Hey, you would have been a great person to chime in and talk about this subject. This might be a good video topic for you to cover since you are a family law attorney, and God bless you. Look, God bless you. You're a family law attorney, so you've seen all the craziness and all the tomfoolery that goes on. But this would be a good video for you to talk about because Judy is a skilled practitioner in the family law arena. As for me, no, I tried family law once, and I was like, you know what? I'd rather deal with the criminals. The criminals are less emotional and less petty. People fighting over the damn parakeet. Nobody really wants the parakeet. What kind of cockamamie mess is going on in here? Had a family member that had to evict a child. Yeah, I know. I always tell people the low light of my career, not necessarily of my career, but it was a sad day for me as a practitioner of law and as a family member when I had my mother and brother. My brother was staying with my mother as an adult child, and she was like, leave, and he was like, no. So he was like, no, I got rights. But I was really depressed because they both called me. Like one person called and was like, okay, can she kick me out? And then like, can I kick him out? And I was like, I just rubbing my head. I was like, see, that's what I miss about not living in the same state I said that's just that's what I miss about not living in the state as my family, because people wouldn't call me with BS. Yeah. I just went through more craziness this afternoon. Can't give the details, but it again motivates me to save so I can retire early. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Family law is just rough, man, because I don't know, man. If you make them sign a lease, it's just yeah, you got to do all the due diligence and all that background check and all that stuff. But family law is just tough, man, because it's just so emotional. It's so much pettiness in it. Like, what's that song? Like, hey, it's nothing. Hey, a woman scorned, hell, a guy scorned, a human scorned is a bad thing. I mean, I just seen some crazy stories, and you would like to think that people can resolve things amicably, but nah, when you think your feelings been hurt or somebody wronged you, man, you wanna run them over the ringer so damn bad. So it just kind of gets crazy. You know what I mean? It was like an article I saw. Y'all familiar with the concept of passport bros? It's like this fad. It's like this fad. So you can just dump dead stuff outside and change the locks. If you can't, yeah, you're right. You corrected it. You can't. Oh, let me see. I want to get this comment real quick. Yeah, sometimes clowns are awful, even when they see educated or professional. Yeah, professional don't have anything to do with it. I was just talking about there's this whole trend of it's called like passport bros, and y'all probably seen it, and it is always trending on social media where guys get their passport and they go to places like Thailand and Brazil and Costa Rica and St. Martin's and all these crazy places to meet women. And they think like, oh, these women are so submissive here and they treat you way better than westernized women. And man, I seen some guys who were all on that bro stuff and how they were getting treated with much more respect. Now they singing the blues. I was like, I don't want to hear that. Women are more submissive or men are more respectful over here. Everybody is respectful until they don't want to be. I don't care where you go. I don't care if you think you're going to find a guy or a woman or a person of the opposite sex or whatever it is you want to find in a relationship. I don't care if you go Western. I don't care if you go to Asia. I don't care if you go to Africa. Everybody's cool until they felt like they've been violated. And that's just what you got to deal with. That's what makes family law so crazy to me. And I don't know. I feel like those cases, you just wear them on your sleeve. Like, at least if I'm dealing with criminals, I'm like, you know what my clients can't do if you're a criminal? Can't call me at all damn hours of the day because you're in prison. You ain't got no minutes. You're going to have to send a note from the jail, and I'll get that note. Then I'll come over and see you if I haven't already scheduled a time to see you. Or in the alternative, if I have some new information, I'm coming over there. But nah, family law clients, they gonna call you. They think, I don't know. I feel like sometimes they think that, just because you're their attorney, like you paying me, bro, but you're not paying me that much to be calling all these crazy ass hours. And I know it happened in family law. I know it happened in family law because that's so true. If those women want to come to America. Yeah, it was so many stories about these passport bros. They over there going broke now because they building houses for these women. And the guys going over there aren't multimillionaires. They like retired army guys or retired bus drivers, blue collar workers. And they going over there. And I'm like, yo, if you make bad decisions with regard to who you choose to be in a relationship with in the United States, you think you're going to make a good decision when you go overseas? Nah, you're probably going to make another bad decision and it's just going to end up bad. So, wins out the bank account, divorce that citizen. Yeah. Then depending on the rules and laws where they at, man, they may not never see that money and want to bring over their entire family or just finesse them out of the money while they there. But that goes back to the original point. Everybody is cool. I don't care how professional or educational. Every person you're in a relationship is cool until they felt like they've been wrong. And then it goes straight to this. It goes to the adversarial process. People putting their dukes up and they fighting and swinging for the fences. I want this. I want that. Like, I lie to you not. This is the craziest family law case I've known someone to be a part of, an attorney. and they were telling me about it. And I said, this is insane. They had a family law case where the couple got 100% out of debt. Both couples are employed. The disparity in the income is probably 60-40. The husband made 60% of the income. The wife made about 40% of the income. But they got completely debt free. I'm talking about even their house. They owed nobody nothing. But the relationship didn't work out. They end up getting a divorce. And then a divorce, this is just me. If I made 40% of the household income and you made 60% of the household income, but we have no debt, no obligations to nobody. I'm gonna be honest, maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm just, maybe I'm just not I'm not one of them people who like, oh, get what you're entitled to. But if I made 40%, my wife made 60%, and we have zero debt and we get a divorce, and I'm working and you've been working, I don't want any of your retirement. You don't touch my retirement. I don't touch your retirement. What more can you want? I don't want to get a divorce. But if I ever got a divorce, the greatest gift I could have is walking away from a divorce with no debt. Because I think it makes it so much easier. You know what? Let's just sell the house. You take half. I take half. You keep your retirement. I keep my retirement. Split all the accounts down the middle. You can have all the furniture and all the stupid shit that I don't give a damn about. And it's a done deal. You think that situation would have been really easy, but nah. My partner told me that they were fighting scratch and clawing for every little bit of everything that they were entitled to. Both sides, nobody wanted to give up anything. And I'm like, y'all don't got no debt to allocate. Like, you would think it would be something this simple, but like I said, when people are wrong, dude, when they felt like they have done wrong, the dukes come out and people are going to fight. That's it for this video. Salute to Ron DeSantis. Hey, so far, there's 2 videos I did on laws that he passed out of Florida that were good. Not saying I'm a Ron DeSantis guy. I'm just saying in those 2 videos, those 2 laws, they made sense to me. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. As always, I appreciate everybody tuning in and for the support, everybody who joined me in the chat. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, check out the video on the screen. There's going to be more content related to finance, attorney reactions, and current events. Hit the subscribe button, join the community. Y'all take care. Be blessed. Peace.